Hello there, you. I just messed up the intro. Hello there, you magic monsters, you. Welcome to the stream. So, what are we doing today? Stuff. First, I wanted to let you know that I created a Patreon. We'll see how that goes. There's some wonderful options there for supporting Legend of the Stones, and I think over time it will get even better as I get pre-alpha versions out and start adding more stuff. So we'll see how this goes. But that's that. And actually, the first thing I'm doing for that, and hold on one second. So I apologize. I guess I started a little bit too soon. Give me 1 second. All right, I had to preemptively stop a dog from barking, so I apologize for that. So, one thing I'm going to do for the Patreon is I'm making this little demo of my editor script, which I use. I now renamed it Infinity Editor. It was Custom Editor, but for those who were here last night and yesterday, I was having issues with that, conflicting with the Unity Editor Custom Editor class, and so I renamed it to be Infinity Editor. And I'm making this fun little demonstration of what you can do with the editor and how it makes it a little easier to do stuff. So like you get this flashing little warning thing. If I go to crazy numbers, you get this and it says must be 0 to 100. And, just basically concepts that I use when I create my custom editors that I think others might find helpful as well. And I'm going to release the code, which is really, it's in most of my packs already. Hey, Ed, how are you? So it's in most of my packs already, but the code will be part of that release, only for patrons. But of course, again, it's in every bit of my code. So the only new thing will really be this, the editor demo, which is right here, and you can see I'm building that out just to demonstrate some key things I like to use in my editor scripts and how it's a little easier in my mind to do things like start row, start vertical box, etc. Using the Infinity Editor class, which is all this stuff that I've written for myself and now for you. It also will be part of the game modules bundle if you have the game modules bundle. I'm just going to make sure this stays in that, but I'll export it separately for everyone else too in the Patreon. So that's that. And now let's get back to the game, because I didn't get to do as much work on this as I wanted to. I did stuff this morning actually, but and last night. But we got, so this is where we left off. We've got our two spawners here. So we got a spawner there. And as you can see, the colors change as we select them, and the colors change when we select any of their children as well, which is really nice. So if you select one, you can see what group it belongs to. I've also updated, I can now snap. So this snap option is really cool. And you can just snap to the grid or to the terrain. If you're too far away, it won't work, but in most cases it will work. And you can also select the parent directly. And then here, I made some updates to this. This is going to be now just an object spawner rather than an actor spawner. You can snap everything, so I can choose to snap just this object and the others stay where they are, or I can choose to snap all of them and they just automatically go down. We've got a bunch of options now. We have this objects to spawn, so now instead of just spawning one, I can say I want to spawn 10 different objects, and infinite respawn. So basically it's always going to respawn at the reset period, which right now is set to 1 game year. We've got a new option here for spawners to activate. So if we look at this one right here, and we can select it using that button, you can see that this will not spawn. And well, it's supposed to be giving us another option. Let me see. Did that not save? Remove that. If I add this, it's supposed to show, yeah, that's activated by spawner goblin level 1. I have to look into that, but what's this? I'm not sure what that error is. Okay. Yeah, so just a little hint that, this is being activated by a different one. So the idea is that when this is done, essentially there's going to be a method saying when all the objects that it spawns have died, whatever that is, whether it's an enemy who dies or an object that's picked up or something, like loot or something like that, or maybe herbs or something, then this option means that after one activation, so respawns before activation 1, that means when this first respawns, on the first respawn, then this will turn on as well. And that means that for these goblins, 1 year after you destroy the first group, they'll come back, but so will the second group of goblins. So what you could do is, instead of infinite respawns, I could have this set to 0, and then after one, well, I guess I could set this to 0. After, it's minimum of 1. I'll have to work the logic, make sure that makes sense. But after this is dead, then it will activate this one rather than activating the original, which means that the next time I could have more difficult enemies or something like that, or more enemies, or enemies in a different spot. So it just gives some options on the reset period, on the spawn. I'm going to add another option for activating or respawning on a very specific date, and maybe even time. So for instance, if I use object spawner for, say, flowers or something that drops from a tree but only drops in the springtime, then I'll add that. And I think I might add a option for automatically removing things as well. So if something drops in the springtime and you come in the fall, it will be removed. It's not actually going to show up unless it's a very specific time period. So I might add that option too. We have our spawn points. So these are all the spawn points. You can select them just by clicking each one and then select the parent. So that's a nice little handy tool. And then of course the object options, where you can add any number of objects as you want, and they have a chance of spawning. It's going to be random, and that's that. And you can add new ones there or remove them to increase or decrease the chances of things happening. And it does the math for you. So that's fun, right? I think that's fun. So yeah, so that's what I did last night after the last stream, and this morning briefly before I started working on the other stuff. Very sad today. Today's the end of a 4-day weekend. Happy that we had 4 days off. But it just goes to show you that, man, I would be much more happy just making games all day, doing this every day. But that's okay. So now I want to just start working on the actual spawning. I can add the other options later. I think this is pretty decent for now. But they don't actually spawn. Nothing actually happens. So one thing I want to do when I press play, I know this disappears, but the others don't disappear. So I want to make sure the others disappear as well. It's taking a while to start. There we go. So we need to make sure the others disappear, all these other placeholders. Oh, and you see the fancy line connecting them all? That's just a nice little, helps to visualize where they all are besides the color changes, you know. And you can change the colors too. So you can, you can change the colors here if you'd like to change them to something else. So yeah. Oops, I should make that a little darker. And then when it's off, it changes to the other colors that you have selected. Okay, so what is the here? I think I just need to change this one to say mesh render equals false on start, essentially. Whoops. All right, let's load up Rider. Usually I have this loaded up already, but today I didn't. And I'm going to close all others. So we get this. Oh, and close. Whoops. Close all to the left. Close. All right, there we go. Not much going on in this script right here, is there? So awake, and we will do void start, and at start we will just say, oh, Writer's still setting up stuff. All right, At start, we will say get component mesh render. Whoops. Mesh renderer dot enabled equals false. Hey. There we go. That's all we do. So that should solve that problem. Let's just make sure. It's such a silly, simple thing, but always good to make sure. I also need to add the concept of bounding boxes for things so that they can't go outside of a certain area. Hey, it did not work. Why didn't it work? Why didn't it work? That makes little sense to me. What's the code I use? What is this? This. Oh, okay. I want shared material, it says. All right. So let's do that. Let's make that shared material. Dot material. Gotta do it here too. Alright, maybe that'll keep it from throwing these errors. These errors weren't being thrown last night or yesterday, I don't think. So something about today. Oop, I need to change this name too to be object. Object spawn point editor. Alright. Actor, make sure I got all the... I did not. Object spawner. Alright. So let's figure out why the other one is disappearing. This is not. I can zoom in too. I apologize, I didn't zoom in. Object spawner. Alright, object spawner dot enabled. Get component mesh render enabled equals false. So we put this in awake for this one. So I see. Well, I was trying to do different things here. Oh, wait a minute. This is the wrong script. That's why. That's why it's not. It was the wrong script entirely. So that explains that. There we go. Simple. Wrong script. See, that's why I test things, because sometimes I just make silly mistakes. I'm sure you all do not do that. It's only me who makes silly mistakes like that. Alright. I think I need to quit and reload because it's taking a fair amount of time to start and stop the game. And there we go. Alright, so they're all turning off. So let me quit and reload the project just so it might speed up a little bit, save ourselves some time in the future, and then we'll get some bad guys spawning. See, now it's taking a sweet time even quitting. Did it even work? I don't even know. There, it did work finally. Alright. Hello, Magic Productions Limited. I know. Silly mistakes are what we do. I can't imagine the world where you had to where it took, many minutes or longer to compile something, and making a silly mistake would really be a time waste. Oof. So much easier now. Alright, so let's make it spawn some stuff. So let's look at our spawners again. We've got this first one. And we've got all these spawn points, and we've got these, and this didn't save. Why didn't that save? Let's just make sure that's being serialized. Objects to spawn. I wonder if I need to do serialize field. Probably that was the issue. No. All right. So I suppose that's the question for folks who know stuff about these getters and setters. Do these not serialize? The set value, does that not serialize? Whoops. Is that not a thing there? That's not a thing there. So that's a question for folks. I don't know the answer. But I am saying this to 5, and it seems to be not saving. So one other option, I could enforce this to set dirty. On Inspector GUI, we will say editor utilities dot set dirty. No, set dirty. Editor dot set dirty. Somewhere it's editor something set dirty. Set it dirty. Let's see. New Unity 3D editor set dirty. I should know this, but it is editor utility set dirty. Why is that? Editor utility dot set. Yeah. All right. Script. All right. So that, and I don't think we really need this here, but we will put it anyways. Alright, if we change it to 6 now, I save. Alright, well it did save that time. It says it saved, so maybe that was the difference, is for some reason it just wasn't saying dirty. Hey Mike, going good, how about you? Wow, a day before you got the results. You can't make a mistake there. That's yeah, it's a completely different workflow, I imagine. I mean, not physically, of course, with the different technology, but just having to make sure you don't make a silly mistake. Here, these days, we can just be all wild, wild west and do whatever we want, right? All right. So let's make things spawn. So we need a spawn method, and we need to put these in the object spawner. So a lot of this stuff I'm going to remove, but we'll see. Okay. All right, this is saying if I'm serializing it, don't put the underscore in front of it. All right, I'll go with that suggestion. Why not? And then, okay, on awake. So we're not going to do the stuff on awake. Instead, I'm going to delete all of this. Now, there's a chance some random errors will occur. Because this is ultimately an older script which I am now updating. So we're not going to do this on awake. We're going to have another script call this 2 in the morning. Wow, 7 hours ahead. So you must be in Europe or in West Africa. Field, serialized field. Is that What is that? Field serialized field. Mike, Ed rather says field serialized field. Is that? Where is it? Where is my stuff? Here. Where are they? South Africa. Okay. I thought that would be further than 7 hours. Well, I got the Africa part correct. Field, serialized field. Oh. Well, it still says it's redundant. Well, we'll figure that one out. If 6 doesn't stay, then we'll figure it out. I think oftentimes it's just this whole set dirty thing. Sometimes the editor scripts don't the way I do them. I guess maybe, I don't know, but it doesn't always set dirty. So now I can delete this since I'm the only one using this right now. All right. So the method is going to be public void spawn. So spawn's very simple. First, we're going to make sure we can spawn. So if not can spawn, then return. And then if the time is not yet time to spawn, then we will return. So here's a deal. Initial period is supposed to be like if I put 3 days, then it's not supposed to spawn until 3 days after the first time this is loaded. Not so much saying, hey, 3 days after time 0. The game time could start anytime. In my game, it starts in the year 1288 or something like that, and maybe some random month and some random day. So we need to know when we first loaded this. And so I'm just going to have a serialized private int, and we're just going to call this first loaded time. And it's going to start at -1. And we're going to first do this can be done on awake. Set first loaded time. Pretty simple thing here. It's just going to check that, and if it's not -1, then it will set it to time now. So if first loaded time is not equal to -1, then return. Otherwise, we're going to say first loaded time equals game time dot now, and true, include subtime, and that's going to throw us an error because of course yeah, we need to, well, actually we don't need to include some subtime. It doesn't have to be that precise, and we're going to cast it as an int. And then we will then set the first respawn period. So initial period is what we're going to do. Let's see. So I'm going to say this is going to actually be compute period. And we're going to take in int years, int months, and int days, and then we're gonna get these back here instead of doing what we did up here. So now instead of compute reset period and then doing this, we will return we'll do it like this. We'll return compute period and pass in reset period years, reset period months, and reset period days. And then we'll do a similar one for initial period. So compute initial period and initial period years, initial period months, and initial period days. Great. Yeah, I don't like daylight savings time. I don't know of Halo Forge's modes respawn timers. Halo Forge modes respawn timers. This is actually basically the same system I used in my game, The Barbarian, back in the day. So on spawn, so we're doing first. Let's remove that for now. We're doing the first time. So first time's load, and then we're going to set the respawn time. Do we not have respawn time? Did I not do that? Objects to spawn, blah, 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 blah. No, I don't think I did. I don't think I did. Initial? No. Okay, so let's do that up here. Public int, yeah, int next spawn time, and get set the next time that this will spawn. All right, so our next time is going to be equal to first time plus compute initial period. So that should give us whatever this is, and right here it's going to be 0, because 0 times that and 0 times that and 0 times that, add them all together, you get 0, will be basically now. And there we go. So if this is more than 0, 0, 0, then this will set this to a future time, and next time it runs, essentially next time, for my game at least, next time the game loads or the map loads, it's going to go through the spawn thing, and this is going to be called by some other script. But this is always going to check for first time loaded, so nothing has to call that at all. I suppose maybe this doesn't have to be called from another script for my purposes, because let me think. It could be called from another script, but it should know. Oh, you know what? So a couple things. First, I can't do this on awake because I need game time, and game time only exists when game already exists, and that won't happen the very first frame. So it has to be on a different frame. So we're going to do private void update, and on update we're just going to do this. It's going to return after that, but we can't do that because we have to say if game equals null, then return. Basically, if the game is not ready yet, if we don't have game, then the game is not ready. And in a way, we should also let's see, do we have to wait for the game to be loaded? We do have to wait for the game to be loaded. If game.is ready, is game ready? What's the difference between is game ready and is active and enabled? So if it's not ready, let's see what this looks like though. Is game ready? All right. Where do we set this? I see. So we do this get ready thing, and then we'll set it ready right here. Okay. So during our get ready phase, start portrait process, start game relinks. It's gonna happen after all this. There's two things that this script, this object spawner, is going to do. One, it's going to spawn new stuff. Two, it's going to spawn saved stuff if there is saved stuff. First, we're going to try the new stuff, and we'll do the saved stuff in a bit. So we just need this to be true before we'll even try to do anything. And so we need it populated. We need that to be true. Then we will set first time, and then we will try to spawn. We won't do anything if we can't spawn. Actually, we should do that here too. If not can spawn, return. If you can't spawn, then it's not even going to try to do the other stuff. And we need to know if it has saved data. Essentially, we're going to be keeping track of live objects. What were we talking about? Maybe I should run as a coroutine. Well, the pattern I've been using right now is just everything just waits for game to be ready and then it does its thing. Just have all of your awake calls add themselves to a list of things to be called, such as post awake, after the game is ready. That's an idea too. There's a pattern that's called the... What pattern is that? I forget. I never remember the pattern names. Factory pattern, something like that. I thought that one. I'm not sure which one. Let's get this working, and then I think in the end I might redo everything, but we'll see. So we need to spawn, but we need to know if we have existing saved data. So we're gonna first say if not spawn saved data, or rather if we spawn saved data, then return. That's going to say that we did spawn saved data. For now, we're going to return false. Oops, return false. And we're going to say debug.log to do check for saved data. All right, and then now that we're spawning new data, we will say for each well, first let's make a list of our spawn points, because we're not going to double up spawn points. Part of the script requires that the objects to spawn has to be less than or equal to the number of spawn points, so that things don't spawn on top of each other. So I'm going to make a copy of this list. So we're going to say var spawn points available is equal to spawn points, and then well, I guess we have to clone it, right? It can't be equal to that because I'm going to delete things from it. Spawn points. So I guess what we can do is how do you quickly clone a list? Is there a thing for quickly cloning a list? You do 3D clone list. I can do it with JSON, I know that. But I feel like there might be an easier way. I'm looking. No, it doesn't look like that. So what I will do is say spawn points equals available JSON utility from JSON and spawn points dot to JSON, or JSON utility dot to JSON, spawn points. And that should be a clone. Oh, what are we missing? From JSON list. Game object, I suppose. Is it a game object? Maybe I can't do that. Alright, I can't do that. Alright, we'll do another version. List game object spawn points available equals new list game object, and then for each var point in spawn points we will just simply add spawn points available to add point. Alright, so we'll copy the list, and now we will say for while for int I equals 0, I is less than objects to spawn plus plus, we will now fix our bug, and then we will for each one we're going to choose a random one. So var new object equals well, I'll actually do object to spawn equals object option objects, what would I call it? Objects to spawn. Objects to spawn dot count. Oh, or I guess random dot range. 0 and that dot count. What is objects to spawn? Is that not? Oh, that's wrong. Where's my lists? What did I call that? Object options. Oh yeah. Formerly serialized as. All right. Alright, so get a random one, and then var spawn point is equal to available spawn points available random dot range 0 and spawn points available. Dot count. Forgot dot count. Alright, so that's our spawn point, and then at the end of this we're going to say spawn points available dot remove spawn point, or x equals spawn point, or maybe just spawn point. That would work. That's easier. So we're going to remove it, and essentially that means the next time we won't choose the same spawn point. And we should probably just also say if objects to spawn is greater than spawn points available dot count, then objects to spawn equals spawn points available dot count. Just to make sure. My property is not private. What are you talking about? Private property. My property is public. It was saying it was redundant, so it works but is unneeded, I suppose, is the way I was reading that. Alright, and then we will spawn the object. Spawn object, and we are going to say object to spawn point, and we will do that in a different method. So let's just go through this again. First, if we're spawning save data, then we do nothing of this sort. And now we spawn points available for each one. Make a copy of the list so that we can remove stuff. And then make sure the count is the same. Just a sanity check there. And then for each one, find a random object. Get random object. And then get random point. Spawn the object. And then also remove the point from the list. So we don't have duplicates. All right. Should be pretty straightforward there. That's all it does. And then the spawning of the object itself. We're going to have to keep track of what we spawn because we're going to be serializing their data on save. So one thing, I can't just serialize the data, unfortunately, because some of my classes are going more than 10 levels deep. So I don't know if this one does that or not, but what I've been doing is individual objects, such as a actor, will serialize itself into JSON. And then rather than saving the actor object, I'm going to be saving the JSON strings in the object spawner here. And then on load, basically repopulate them from that. So we're going to need a list of saved object data, and it's going to be a list of strings because it's going to be the JSON data on saved objects. It's going to be used for loading and saving. Ah, I see. So the field serialized field works if the set is private. And that's why it was redundant, because the set isn't private. Is that correct? Is that what your takeaway was? All right. Spawn object. We're going to. We also need to keep a list of active objects. This one can be private. Active objects. And it's not going to be, it's going to be game object. Essentially, when the game quits, we don't need to keep, we're going to save this. And so we're going to repopulate this on load. So we don't need to save this data. This is just for runtime purposes. And then, okay, to add, well, let's just do it a different way. So we're going to say var new world object equals instantiate object to spawn point dot what is the parent? I suppose the parent can be this, and then new world object dot transform dot position is going to be equal to spawn point dot position transform dot position, and then new world object dot transform dot Euler angles equals to spawn point dot transform dot Euler angles. And all right, then active objects add new world object. We might need to do more on the active object when we set it up. I don't know. I think that will handle itself for the most part. But I think that might be it then. So we're adding the new object, and that's that. We're doing that X number of times. We can remove this. It's redundant as well. All right. And then just as for our saved ones, let's see. We're only going to save data if they're still out there in the world. They could be like an enemy that's dead, etc. Have a good night, Mike. Thanks for coming by. I mean, this is something to handle later, just to confirm things. But the idea is that, an enemy, for instance, is probably one of the more complicated objects, is going to die at some point, and they're going to turn into a dead enemy. But we're still going to keep track of them until they get picked up and removed from the map, or just removed from the map through some other means. As long as they're not removed from the map, then we're going to save their data. And if we have their data saved, then we're not going to load new stuff. So we need various methods that we don't have yet for kind of keeping track of removing objects from the list. So public void remove object from list, and we're going to get a game object to remove, and this is going to be debug.log to-do, because I don't know what we're doing here. What are we doing here? We're going to remove from the list. That's easy enough. And then we're going to check if list is empty. If so, set next respawn time. So basically, once all of them have been removed from the list, i.e. dead, whatever that is for these objects, it could be that they got picked up by the player, it could be that they died and they go poof and that's that. I don't really care. It could be anything like that. But once they are removed and all removed, then we will set the next respawn time. But so long as the saved list is filled, then we will not be doing the spawning, or rather not be doing this portion of the spawn. We're going to spawn save data instead. And so we're going to check. I'm just going to kind of type this out, and it won't do anything right now. But so we're going to say if saved data dot count is equal to 0, then return. So false. So this is saying there is no saved data to load. That means we should do the main spawn. Otherwise, for each var data in saved object data, load from spawn from JSON data, and spawn from JSON is going to be well, I don't know, this is debug.log. This is going to be a thing I do have to do later, because this is going to first create a new object, and I'm going to have to figure out how to know what kind of object to create. I'm not sure how I'll figure that out. I'm going to have to figure that out. And then populate data with the saved JSON data, and then do any cleanup. I'm not sure what that entails. All right, so spawn from JSON and then return true. Oh, I already had return. All right, so that means we are spawning from there. Okay, this shouldn't happen anytime soon, because this will return false until we actually have saved data. All right. We'll do that later. So those are all things that we'll save for later. Now we've got objects in our active objects. Yep, so I think that's basically it. Let's give it a try. Is that it? It might work. So this one should trigger. This one should not trigger, because it is set to not can spawn. Let's find out. And this should spawn 6 bad guys. Oh, it's spawning tons. It's raining goblins. Holy cow, it's raining goblins. Lots of goblins. Hey, there's probably like a pattern forming here that a scientist could look at. Some sort of mathematical geometric shape. Alright, so that didn't work. Excuse me. Didn't work quite as planned. It kind of worked. One could say it worked too well. Object spawner has been destroyed, but I'm still trying to access it on 207. 207. Whoops. My finger's in the wrong spot. If not that, if not script, then return. If not that, then return. If we'll just switch this to a try get component. So we'll say if not script dot game object dot try get component out mesh renderer return. And then mesh renderer here. And I suppose we would have to do a similar thing here. And we'll say if spawn point try get mesh renderer point mesh renderer, then we won't return, we'll just continue for this one, and we'll do that. Alright, maybe that'll solve that problem. Now the other issue, of course, is that we just kept spawning stuff. Why did we keep spawning stuff? Because we call spawn every single frame. That's why we kept spawning stuff. We didn't say that, so if we're spawning save data, then return, and then if if did spawn, then return. This is going to be a private. Keep coughing. At least I remember to mute myself that time. Where is my privates? Can't find my privates. Oh, here they are. Alright. Did spawn. If we did spawn, then we will not do anything. But otherwise, we'll do stuff, and then afterwards, we'll say did spawn equals true. And then after we do our saved data here, we're going to mark that as true. So now it should only happen once. Don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. It's always helpful. Let's see. Nothing spawned this time. Well, that's a very different outcome. We're going to say debug.log should spawn new, and debug.log, here we go. Just to figure that out, and then spawn object, we're going to say debug.log spawn object to spawn dot name. Nope. Name at spawn point dot transform dot position, and we'll see if this works. Give us some information about what the heck's going on. Does anyone remember the old Saturday Night Live Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy? Hey, look, nothing happened instead. Did I have a... What's going on here? Maybe it's... Just... Nope, I didn't even get the... Oh, look at this. Ha! That's why. All right. Keep coughing. Am I getting sick? I might be getting sick. It's not good. This is saying it should spawn a new, and then we're saying did spawn, so return. Should spawn new. Should spawn new. Should spawn new. Has target. Should spawn new. Should set hover enemy. Should spawn new. Should spawn new. Okay. Should spawn new. Here we go. So we did the here we go. Here we go. Here we go right there. Is there any returns between then and now? No. But maybe... And I'm going to do this a different color. So it's a little easier to read. I'm going to remove this. So this should only happen once, and then that should happen. My guess is perhaps objects to spawn is not... Oh yeah, look, it's back to 1. So it's not being serialized. Is the grass one of... No, it is not. This is all from... It's actually the demo scene from Nature Manufacturer's Meadow package. I just add some random buildings, but I'm using this one to test because it just existed. Here we go, spawning 0 objects. So that's the issue. For some reason it's not serializing objects to spawn. So that's a shame. I was hoping that this would just work magically, and it doesn't. It's going to be the same issue with all of these. Ah. Uh-huh, okay, so... All right, so that should work now. I keep coughing. I apologize. It shouldn't have a I mean, maybe it has a Northern California vibe, but I'll tell you what, the guy who made it's in Poland, so maybe it has a Northern European vibe too. I don't know. Oh gosh, what's wrong with my throat? You know what I need? I need some random Dayquil around here just to sip on, coat my throat with medicine. Be right back. I'm gonna go see if I got anything in the medicine cabinet. I don't know if that works, but we'll see. I also obtained a dog who's now in this room. We'll see how long he wants to stay in here. Probably not too long. All right. Let's see. What the heck was I doing? Oh, yeah. Seeing if this works now. Let's press play and see if 6 spawn. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We see them, right? We all see them. What did we get? We got 3 grunts, 2 fighters, and a captain. The grunts, there was a 66% chance of a grunt. So out of 6, we should have gotten 4. So we got an extra fighter above the average. And that's cool. So that works, essentially. Excuse me. It could be allergies. I think it's allergies. Hold on, let me let the dog out of this room. Told you it wouldn't take long. Alright. Alright. At nighttime, though, he doesn't want to leave this room. Alright, so that worked. And then if we stop and press play again, now they should, excuse me, pop up in a different area because it's randomized, right? And it should be different ones. There we go. And so now we got 3 grunts, 5 grunts, and a captain. So that's the idea. That was the whole point of this, is that each time you play the game, they're going to be slightly different. Now, it's going to, you know, if something has to be there, then I'll make sure there's a spawner with the thing that has to be, like a boss. Or if I want there to always only be 5 grunts, then we'll do 5 grunts, you know, and all that. But I like the idea of having a few groups of enemies where you don't know exactly what they're going to be or where they're going to be. You know, this one way back here, might not be there one time, and the next time you play the game, it is there. Now, once they're spawned, they're going to be saving, so you're not going to like, save, load, and find them to be completely different. So we are going to save their positioning and all that stuff. But yeah, we can fix this by saying if did spawn return. All right, return false. All right. So they're going to do their thing. They're going to walk around. That I need to fix and all that. But we need a method for saving their data. So let me just think it through here. So what we're saving is a few things. We want to save their transform. We want to save their spawn points. This is old. Whatever that is, we're going to remove that. We want to save their player, and this is the thing that we're going to be saving as JSON. And I think there might be a method already built into player to save as JSON. Oh, yeah. And player itself has JSON strings, by the way. So there's that. So there's multiple layers of saving and loading going on. It'd be easier if there was only one, but it is the way. It is the way. So we're going to save their transform. We're going to save their player, and that's that. Oh, actually, we're going to save their actor settings too. So this is a whole nother thing. Actor settings is for each one. Let me zoom in on these. For each one, there's going to be potentially different weapons, whether they have a shield or not. They're different armor. So you might get 5 grunts, but the grunts might all have different weapons. Some might have a shield, some might not have a shield. Different armor, different skin tones, male or female. Well, I guess we got male and female separated already out of the prefab, but it's different skin tones. So that you've got 5 female grunts, but they're not all completely the same. Even the armor might look slightly different. So the armor itself might have a... Whoops, where's the armor? Let me select it again. The armor itself on this might have a slight change in its look. So instead of this, it might look like this, or it might look like this, or it might look like this. Just overlays on it so that each one is just slightly different, and it's randomized. So in Way Dustin, we're spawning infinite ones. Where in Northern California do you live? In the country? In Butte County? Butt County, as I used to say when I was in college. Okay. Do I want to tackle saving right now? Problem is I haven't tackled any of the saving. I think I need to tackle all of the saving at once and start from like the player and then move outward from there. The idea is we got this working, and I don't see why this isn't working. Let's just try a different thing. If I do spawn 50, it should spawn only 8 because we have 8 points. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grunts and 2 fighters. Yep. Not necessarily. I think it depends. That would be on the objects, whether the objects have that variety, and they currently don't. I mean, the sword does have the ability to have different textures, but it is just it. And I think I don't want to go deeper into having different textures per se, because the maps will add up big time. But I think we're not going to go that deep for the dings. At least not now. Maybe at some point in the future there could be like I don't know, random decals or something on them. But nope. For now, it's just going to be what they're wearing and stuff. And what they're wearing will also affect their attack and stuff. So if they have this sword versus another sword, their attack might change. If they have a shield, they might be able to block. Without a shield, they can't block. If they have the better armor, they're going to have higher armor class. So the stuff does matter in the game, and then the cosmetic stuff is really mostly the skin tones and maybe some slight changes to some of the armor just to change it up a little bit. But yeah, I think what I need is an event that says save data. What do I have on my player class? Because I know I've had save data working before. I just can't remember where I was with it. Save game. Save data. Okay, there it is. I even wrote myself a note. Oh. I wrote myself a note like, what, 10 days ago? Huh. I don't remember that. Save data. Save inventory. JSON utility. We put all those. Why did I comment this out? What spots? Oh, that's the inventory. Yep. I'll probably ask that again at some point in the future. Save data. Yeah, so and load data. I think what I will do eventually is oh, I know why I commented that out. So yeah, save stats, because we're not really doing that. Actually, yeah, I think I need to do another session where I just focus on the saving of the data, because I changed enough stuff between whenever and now that I need to do a deeper dive on the save data. So I think we're good then for now on the spawning. This concept of the spawning can be used for any old object too. So, anything that I want to spawn and I want it to be, save it if I want it to be saved, otherwise not. So loot boxes can be spawned. I can, have, instead of just putting a treasure out there, there could be a treasure, the same treasure, but I could have 5 different spawn points so that it could be in any one of 5 different spots. So the second time you play the game, you can go to that one spot where there's a treasure and be like, oh, shit, there's no treasure now. Or maybe, you come back to a dungeon later and a box is moved. So the box is not in the same spot because, hey, it's been a year and clearly somebody else has been in here because the box that you looted is stuff in it again, so it also got moved. So that kind of idea could be cool. I think, though, I'm having some allergy issues, and I think I need to take some allergy medicine and stop talking, because talking is probably exacerbating the situation. So the next step I'm going to focus on is probably the saving and loading. I want to do the saving and loading properly. I know it's working to some degree because I'm able to walk into the dungeon and walk out of the dungeon and things are working, are saved. But yeah, that's it. I will leave you though with some magic spells or something, because I'm still happy with my magic spells. So let's just quickly look at them. I don't know which ones I've got saved or loaded up on the characters, but let's see. We got our... Oh yeah, look at them all now. We can hit so many of these. So many bad guys to target. And are they not getting hit? I'm getting no references. Alright, I probably have missing scripts on some of them. But that's because I didn't set them up yet. I've only been working on the ones that are in there. Let's see. Oh, I see. This is the spell that's affecting them here. Did you see that? Look at their portraits. Let's do it again. So this is a spell, instant buff all party. So when I cast it, it buffs the entire party. See that? That's pretty, right? Better than the old Might and Magic 6 way of doing it. And this spell doesn't work. These spells don't work. I don't know which one's which. Cunning. It's supposed to be a buff, but it has right now a random other particle on it that's attached to the... So that's not working right. And Healing Touch. I don't think we did this at all either. Yeah, so it casts, but nothing happens. And this other one, I have not set this up. Fire Arrow. I don't... We do have Fire Arrow working, so let's see. I don't think it will work here, though. No, it doesn't work at all. So there we go. Anyways, I'm going to sign off for tonight. Shorter stream than usual, but still. Yep, random loot spawn points. So thanks for hanging out for this short stream. And I apologize for coughing so much and having to mute myself, and the few times I didn't get to mute myself. I will be doing more streams later this week. The workday starts tomorrow, so there's that. There we go. So I hope you all have a wonderful day and night and morning and rest of the week, and we will talk soon. Thanks.